Hello everyone, my name is Fiona. I'm gonna share my ALP presentation for organizational behavior, and I choose the company is Solas Coffee. So Solas Coffee basically is my own cafe, and I choose this one because in Solas Coffee we have faced so many challenges and so many changes during doing this business. Okay, so the table of content. This presentation includes the company profile, the needs and reason for changes, resistance and how to overcome, organizational changes, solutions, and also the photos. Okay, this first about company profile. Solas Coffee is one of the best cafe in Pati. So Pati is in Central Java, and this coffee shop was established in the beginning of 2020, and it was a small cafe which in Indonesia we said in ruko, then transformed into a bigger building, and now this cafe located on Jalan AKBP Agil Kusmadia 17 at Ngarus, still in Pati, Central Java. And this cafe is in a building area of 900 square meters and arguably is the largest cafe in Pati nowadays. This cafe employs 26 active workers with a two-shift system every day and operating hours 9 a.m. until 11 p.m. But my cafe actually open order around 9 a.m. until 10 p.m. And this cafe is quite famous in Pati and is such a favorite place to go for Pati people. Okay, this is the company structure. Basically, it is owned by my parents, but my parents have different business. So for cafe, it's owned by me, and I have my managers is Mr. Arifindra, and his assistant managers is Rea Sandi, and we have some head of each department. So we have the head of the baristas is Dika, and the head of kitchen is Febri, and the head of waiters is Nurul. Why we choose they as a head of their own department? Because each of them, Dika, Febri, and also Nurul, basically they are the master in their own field lah. So Dika is one of Dika and Rea Sandi actually is one of the two of the employees of Solas Coffee, which work with Solas Coffee from the beginning until now. And for Febri and Nurul, Febri is a senior chefs before went to Solas Coffee. He works at some ferry ships cruise, so he works in a cruise. Then the COVID-19 happens, then he moved to Solas Coffee, and nowadays he became a head kitchen of Solas Coffee, and Nurul also the senior waiters. Okay, so next is the milestones of Solas Coffee. So, Solas Coffee was established on February 2020. Established with only 5 employees working for 12 hours a day. So, last February 2020, I only have 5 employees which work for me for 12 hours a day, and I think it's very trouble. And the cafe was located in a small two-level building, only around 60 square meters. So it's only a small cafe. And it was located in Jalan Kamandowo 2, Pati. And yeah, just open normally like what cafe before. The revenue is around 1.5 million per day. And I think it's okay for small cafe, only 5 employees, and the revenue is 1.5 million per day. Then next 2 months after our cafe was established, on April 2020, there's a something unpredictable happens. It's the pandemic of COVID-19. So on April 2020, there's a COVID, and in Indonesia, we know that our government has PPKM, or it's like social distancing regulations, like isolation and something like that. So at that time, we are open for delivery services with no minimum order. Why? Because if we don't provide this one, our sales will be very, very decreased. Actually, we have Grab food, but for at that time, Grab food tax was very high. Then we provide the free delivery services with no minimum order. And at that time, we also have the regulation, which is to limit the customers to dine in. So we have some tables, but cannot be full. And it's one of the problem during the beginning of COVID-19. And at that time, in Solas Coffee, we don't do the employee termination because yeah, just if I terminate my employees, then how how will they do? That's why I just force them to do a sales and to do the delivery services for Solas Coffee. And at that time, on April 2020, and during the beginning of COVID, the revenue for our cafe was only 400,000 until 700,000 a day. Then, after almost a year, which on February 2021, the sales became less effective because I think at this time people already bored. People already wants to go out, but the regulation of government still strict. And our cafe was in a lowest condition, which we have the condition like the negative monthly income because the revenue and the operational cost is not balanced, and it went minus. So we can pay the salary for our employees, but we don't have the rest of money. And then after that, the management did some evaluation, then closed the shop. Basically, the logo or the shop rent is only 1 year, but after we think and we evaluate that this is not effective, then on February, we plan to close the cafe. And then we are looking for new place, which is now we are established in. And at that time, we began to vacuum for 3 months. 3 months is for development, for making new menu, making a concept, do the building, and also like do some renovations and preparing the establishment of a new management of Solas Coffee. After that, after we have some vacuum on April 2021 until now, we already moved to a more spacious place which located in Jalan AKBP Agil Kusmadia 17 Ngeros Pati. At that time, in the first establishment of Solas Coffee, we only have 15 employees, and slowly adding workers because the cafe is going to be busy. And since we are moving in the new places, we have many more events and also cooperations with another brand like cigarettes, another event organizers like banking or thrifting. We have some events in our cafe, and the revenue is now, since April 2021 until now, is around 4 until 11 million a day. 4 millions until 7 millions is for the weekday, and above 7 millions is for weekend. I think it's working after we move. Then oh yeah, so we can know that in a small cafe it's not working. Then after we move, there is many increase lah in our management and our human resource management also. And this is the photos of 11 Coffee. Actually, this is just some photos. We have so many corners to document it, but I just attach four of this picture. So the first picture is the front side of 11 Coffee. Basically, the front side is for motorcycle parking if the cafe is full. And the second photos is my photos with some of my employees. This is not completed, but yeah, okay lah. I just attached this one. And the third one is the situation, and the fourth one also the situation in Seoul's coffee. So basically, my cafe is offering some spaces in indoor, like we can see in the first picture. There's an indoor space, and there's a semi-outdoor space in the last picture. Actually, this one is semi-outdoor place, and outdoor places the third picture. As we can see, we also provide some live musics like that. And these are the products of Solas Coffee. So this is some menu of Solas Coffee, which consists of 46 foods and 51 beverage. We have the best-selling products is from rice bowl and also from snacks, because some of our customers is teenagers. So I think as a teenagers, we would prefer to order rice bowl. And these are some beverage that we offer. Actually, these are not all of Solas Coffee's menu, but yeah, I think it can represent. So our signature of beverage, we have kosumu and kosumi. The kosumu in Indonesia is kopi susu with salted caramel. So it's basically coffee milk with salted caramel, and kosumi is kopi susu with aren sugar. So coffee milk with coconut sugar like that. But instead of coffee, we also have some milk base and also mocktail and the tea base. Sadly, we don't have some cocktails drink and alcoholic drinks. So we only sell the tea base, milk base, espresso base, mocktail, and also some like cultural, not cultural drink, like old-fashioned espresso. It's actually espresso based also, and the manual brew coffee. We also sell it. So we proceed to the needs for change. As I elaborate before, we have different situations as we open before COVID. We have the normal transactions from 9 a.m. until 12 a.m. and there's no limit on the number of guests, so everyone can sit down, everyone can enjoy in the Savalas coffee. It is fully or something, it's okay, there's no restriction, and sales is quite high, around 1 until 2 million per day. Then there's some unpredictable events, which is COVID-19 that reduced transaction, and there was a gas restriction that caused our cafe cannot be fully full with customers, and it's so sad. And we also have the restriction that we only can open our cafe from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. And at that time we switched to online ordering, and also income decreased slightly, as we know that people at that time was like they don't want to go to cafe, instead of they cook by themselves, or they just did some online orders. So this two before COVID and COVID-19 happens in the old of Solas Coffee, in the old building of Solas Coffee. Then actually it's not after COVID, but I can say this is the post-pandemic condition after we move to a wider area And at that time, people already like they want to go outside after 1 year and one year and a half lah, almost 1 year and a half. They just stay at home, working from home, and this time, I think this is the good moment that we move to wider area, adapt the new normal, and there's a and there's a leeway holding we holding live musics and other events. So in Solas Coffee, there are so many events that you can check in our Instagram. We always upload. And after we move to this new place, we have the higher sales around 4 until 11 millions per day. So before COVID-19, it was on the old of Solas Coffee, and the post-pandemic, not after COVID, the post-pandemic. I say the post-pandemic because until now we still have COVID. It's happened in the Solas Coffee report. It means like the new Solas Coffee. So we can say like before COVID it's just normal sales, normal cafe. Then after COVID we did some transformation into online. We provide we upgrade our sales. We transform to online, to WhatsApp order, from Instagram DMs order, and at that time we also boost the paid promotion in some media, in local media. Yeah, and yeah, we just push how to still can alive at that time, because uh, some cafes at that time is closed due to they have just small sales. But I believe at that time, so as coffee, we can beat this pandemic. That's why we did some new operational new operational management. And yeah, the post pandemic, after we move, actually at the beginning of the movement of Solas Coffee, we still have some restriction. We just can open until 9 p.m., but it's better than before because the ppkm is lower and not as strict as before. So this one, I'm gonna elaborate the condition before COVID-19 just with normal situation. We didn't really think about some changes. We don't know, we don't predict there's a COVID or something, some virus. And at that time, we just do evaluations and did some development for our cafe because we just opened. We are a newcomer, and the change we implemented at that time were internal and bureaucratic reforms, as well as managerial ones, because Solas Coffee, we had some cooperation with consultant, but I think it's not good for us. That's why we kick them, and yeah, we just open by ourselves. And this is the old face of Solas Coffee. As I said before, we just stand in ruko in Indonesia. We stand, it's 2 floors only, like this, and the second picture is the condition in the second floor, just small. And the needs for change at that time is the reinforcement of internal elements and strengthening management workers and food and beverage quality resilience. The reason why, because we are a newcomer cafe, therefore, in the pre-pandemic period, we are trying to strengthen our internal system and strengthen our branding. And as what the article said, brands are important and valuable assets which are frequently under-acknowledged and misunderstood. Yeah, I believe branding is very, very important if we are a newcomer. Then next, then the pandemic happens. So yeah, this is the old face of Solas Coffee. Just small, yeah, during COVID-19. Is very impactful to Sebelas Coffee because previously there were no restriction on guests and restriction on open cafe operational hours. Starting during pandemic, the government is promoting PPKM and social distancing. That time is terrible for us. The trends change very quickly. People don't want to go out, and that time, yeah, we also had to follow the existing trend. Like we have to provide online services, we have to did some upselling, we have to make some bundles like isolation package. We also had at that time, and the needs for change is digitalization, providing door-to-door delivery, frequently spraying the room with antivirus, and yeah, we did the limited opening hours. This is because the trend during pandemic already changed, and Solas Coffee had to follow the trend. If no, we cannot stand until now. And yeah, we reduced the capacity of existing seats that the guests were more comfortable, and also digitizing online services with door-to-door services. Yeah, as I said before, we provide the online order. So okay, uh this is the condition after COVID-19. So as we can see, the first and second picture, it's basically me, it's me. The first picture is before the new Sobolas coffee release. So this is the process of the the build to build Solas coffee. I just check them. I frequently check the progress. And the second picture is this is actually our culture. We have the working culture after we close order, after all already cleaned up, we will have some small meetings, some evaluations at that day, and it's compulsory for all Solas Coffee employees. It can be led by one of them, it can be led by the assistant managers, it can be led by the managers, or it can directly lead by me. As we can see, yeah, I also lead this kind of meeting at that day. So after the pandemic decrease, yeah, we move to the new places. We have new face and new arrangement, new menu, moving to a wider building, and yeah, we improve everything. And the needs for change is the innovation, because some people uh they would like bored with some menu. That's why the challenge is become bigger in opening this new phase of Solas Coffee. And we also strengthening our human resources, strengthening service satisfaction, collaborating with other institutions, and making events and attractive promos. Because without events and promos in Pati, basically the cafe will not be busy lah, because uh trends of coffee shop in Pati nowadays, after Solas Coffee make some trends for live music, for routine live music, then the other cafes began to start live music also. That's why if we don't provide some attractive events and promo, we cannot survive. And the reason, yeah, it's going back to zero again, because we are reopening, and with the new phase after this Solar Coffee reopen, it's also we create a cafe trend. Yeah, as what I said before, we create some live music, but then the other cafe have the live music also. But it's not a big problem for us. In this situation, we will still maintain our values in order to survive in the midst of competition, because coffee shop in Pati is very mushroom. Okay, then the resistance to change. I chose three the resistance to change. First one is the limited professional workers. Second one is working habit. The third one is salary. So why limited professional workers? Because Solas Coffee is located in Pati, which is a small town. Therefore, it's also difficult to find professional workers. And we also employ young people with range around 18 until 25. That's why it's a problem for us that we don't really have the professional workers. And the second one is the working habit, because the younger generation participated less in teamwork, as what Eddie as in 2012 said, because many of our workers are so young as me, and one of the obstacles in stability of their spirits, young people tend to feel tired easily, but yeah, we still try and encourage them to be more enthusiastic. And the third resistance is about the salary. Solas Coffee applies a daily salaries in one day workers paid from 5,000 rupiahs until 100,000 rupiahs, with the rule of once a week off. So in 1 week, they can choose whatever they want to day off, and I think it's considered as a reasonable for scale in Pati. But however, if we compare to another city, is quite small. But in Sebelas Coffee, the employees work for 8 hours per shift. So for non-professional workers, I think it's reasonable. But yeah, if we compare to Surabaya, Jakarta, Semarang, and another, it's quite small. Then after we see the resistance, we proceed to how to overcome the resistance to change. I choose the Lewin three steps change model, which stand for unfreeze, change, and refreeze. The unfreeze is recognize the need for change, determine what needs to do change, encourage the replacement of old behaviors and attitudes, ensure there is a strong support from management, and manage and understand the doubts and concerns. Then the second step is change. Plan the change, implement the change, and help employees to learn new concepts or point of view. Then the last steps is refreeze. Refreeze steps is when the changes are reinforced and stabilized, and integrate change into the normal way of doing this, develop ways to sustain the change, and then celebrate success. So, unfreeze in Sebelas Coffee. Sebelas Coffee management realized that opening cafe in a small shop is not effective. So basically, the unfreeze schemes happened when we were in the old Swass Coffee. Therefore, as the time goes by, the company think to move and relocate to a bigger place. Then the change is when Swass Coffee plan to change and relocate to the new location, making the new face of Swass Coffee, rebuilding, make a new face, and make some innovations. And in this step, the management also hire and train new employees. And the last step of Lewin's three-step change model is refreeze. This also happened in Solas Coffee games, because refreeze in Solas Coffee is the opening of Solas Coffee with new face. I mean, like, this happens when Solas Coffee is reborn again. Then a new phase develops services, new menus, and better management system. So basically, Solas Coffee used the Lewin three-step change model during before COVID-19, and post-pandemic era. After we know how to overcome, then we proceed to the solutions of three problems that we have. The first, for professional workers, as the article said, to train and assess behavior skills for workers. So if Solas Coffee in Pati, we can maximize the performance of our employees by training them and assess the behavior skills. Evaluation on behavior skill development takes shape when individuals are being taught, when performing, and when they are evaluated along the way. It's about being aware of one's own strengths and areas of opportunity and the improvements that are necessary to enable them to overcome expected challenge in workplace. So, in short terms, basically, professional workers, we can create our own professional workers by training and assess their behavior skill, and it will develop progressively. The second one, for working habit, as teenagers, which easy to feel tired, is just understanding the competencies of each employees, combining competencies understanding with the information about their strength, weakness, expectation, and values allows individual within organizations to build productive and positive relationship. There are 8 emblematic competencies that define how people of all generations function in the workplace. The 8 competencies are developing people, communication skills, teamwork, customer service, organizational objectives, managing resources, problem solving, and valuing diversity. By know this, the working will be more effective. So to create a good working habit is understanding the competency of each employees and know more about them, and we can push them based on their competencies. And yeah, if their competencies can be pushed, then yeah, the working will be more effective. And about the salary, basically for salary is back to the their own company, so it just moved back to Solas Coffee. And to set up the salary, we can do research on salaries. To research mean like, oh, Solas Coffee located in Pati, we have to do research the salaries of the chefs, the baristas, and also the waiters around Pati is how much. And we can set salaries based on their position of the employee. So we cannot pay same for the cashier and also the chef is not same, basically because they have their own job and it's different. One using skills, one using their energy, one using their brains. Yeah, we have to set the salaries based on what they do in our company, and also set the baseline and top line, so the minimum and the maximum salaries. And we also have to adjust living expenses. Yeah, we have to pay them as there's a relation between salary and the living expenses, and we have to open for negotiation. Yeah, actually Solas Coffee open for negotiation about the salary with the employees. So 3 of this solution I got from 2 from articles and 1 from Jeans.com. Okay, the last but not least is about the conclusion. So in doing business, especially food and beverage business, restaurant owners and management often have problems because it's B2C or business to customers, and to maintain positions and remain competitive with other competitors. Therefore, indicates 6 major principles that underpin sustainability business models. First is resource efficiency. Second, social relevance. 3, localization and engagement. Fourth, longevity. Fifth, ethical sourcing. And the last is work enrichment. So Wallace Coffee, in terms of organizational change, has undergone several transformations and changes to the performance evaluation carried out, starting from a small cafe with less than 5 employees until now move to the new places, to wider spaces, and now employs 26 employees. And these things related into innovation must be done in the world of F&B to compete with other competitors. Yeah, there are the reference that I use. I use 6 reference for this, and that's all. Thank you. And this one is the Instagram of Solas Coffee. Thank you so much.